Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another wonderful video. Today we've got a very interesting topic, so I want to jump right into it. I trust all of you are having a wonderful week, walking uprightly in the commandments, statutes, and judgment that is our Father Yahuwah. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, the judgment of our Father. All esteem, honor, and barakah, respect to Yahuwah, our Creator, Al Shaddai, the Most High, our one true Master, Yahusha HaMashiach, who came unto this world in his own flesh and blood. Present moment versus eternal moment. A study on the way of thinking. Yes, we're going to look at the difference between present moment thinking and eternal moment thinking. Let's get into it. What is present moment thinking? So it's short, mid, or long-term thinking. Thinking of the outcome / consequence of an action, of our actions, in the present moment, or during our earthly timeline, our timeline that is here on earth, before we are to receive judgment from our Father. How does it affect me now? How do our actions affect us now while we are in this world? How could it affect me in a week, month, or year? All right, so that's present moment thinking. We're thinking about how the outcome of our action will affect us right now, or how it could affect us in a week from now, or a year from now. So that's present moment thinking. Eternal moment thinking, which is eternal thinking, the way we want to be thinking, the way our Father wants us to be thinking, is thinking of the outcome / consequence to our actions eternally. When our Father brings judgment to us, how would I be judged by our Father? How does it affect my chances of receiving everlasting life? How could it affect my entry into Yahuwah's Malkud, into his kingdom? All right? So this is thinking about our actions on an eternal scale, when our Father is to judge us. Because if you're like me, you want everlasting life. All right? You don't want the short fix of a feel-good transgression or action in this present moment that it might not affect us in a week's time from now. It might be all out of our system in a few days, or who's going to remember that in 1 year? No. We're thinking about how would our Father feel about this action that we're taking? And would it create a barrier between me and the everlasting life that I strive for? An example of present moment thinking, let's take it back a second, could be, okay, let's say you head off to the bar and you want to try your chances with sleeping with a girl that you pick up there. What are going to be the consequences present moment? All right, you might think, tonight it's going to be absolutely awesome. In a day, I might regret it a little bit. In a week, it might ruin my reputation a little bit. How could it affect me in the coming months or a year? Maybe when you're looking to settle down, it's going to be harder. You've gone and transgressed and done these sexual acts without being in a relationship, a marriage, a covenant. You don't even know whether the girl that you're sleeping with has a connection to our Father, or even has accountability to a higher power. It's an act against our Father. Now, if we were to take this same example and think eternally about it, we would cut ourselves from even going to the bar, because we'd think, hang on, how's my Father going to judge me if I go and out of a marriage, out of any relationship that I form with a woman, commit these sexual acts and transmit this energy that I spend with you? I'm now bringing into my life of walking upon a straight and narrow path an act of transgression that our Father will look at and will not take lightly. It's the same, for instance, if, let's say, you're presented with the opportunity to eat pork. Let's say you're in Italy and there's just left, right, and center. There's just opportunity left, right, and center to eat of a nice prosciutto mozzarella sandwich. But you know that our Father has told us that pork, pig is an unclean animal to eat. You could think present moment about, how's it going to affect me in a week? Well, I know it's poisonous to our bodies and we're not meant to eat it, so maybe I might feel a bit bad, but in a week it'll be out of my system. In a year, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be really good after this, and I'm not going to eat this unclean food, pork, for a very long time. Wrong, wrong, wrong. You're just going to be looked at as an unclean human. Therefore, our Father will blot you out of his Sefer of life. We're going to talk about the Sefer of life and why we want our names to be in it in a few more slides. The eternal moment of thinking would be, Yahuwah, our Father, has told us not to eat of pork, of an unclean animal, which is a pig. So I'm not going to do it, because if I even put this near to my lips, if I think about the act of eating this unclean food, my Father will judge me unclean to enter his kingdom of everlasting life. Our Master Yahushua HaMashiach taught us to be like children and not to think much of the present moment, such things of this world. We know that little children have no concept of transgressing. They are so innocent. They will only ever be brought transgression by their guardians, their parents, mother, father, school, etc. But before this, they knew not transgression. This is why our Father said what we're about to read when he was brought children. This is Matthew chapter 19, verses 13 to 14. Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the Talmudim, which are his disciples, rebuked them. But Yahushua said, suffer, which means allow, little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for as such is the Malchut of Shamayim. The kingdom of heaven is filled with children. Why children? Why are we to be those children? Because we are innocent. We are free of transgression, and we know not transgression. We are so set on the straight, narrow path that is free of sin, that is clean and free of unclean and impure food, animals, wrongdoings. We are just on such a straight, narrow path that we don't even know what transgression is. Almost. It's true. Transgression is not in our sight. It's not in our everyday life. It's not in the actions we take every day. It's not in our routine of laboring, of eating clean, whole foods, pure foods that are deemed pure by our Father. Training, exercising, keeping strong for our Father physically, also mentally, again, by making sure we're hydrated, we're eating good foods. We're spending time out in nature, in the sun, in the ocean, touching our Father's flowing waters. And therefore, we're not focused on all the other stuff. We're not focused on going to the club, picking up women. We're not focused on going out eating crap pizza with pepperoni on it or whatever. We're not focused on doing 1,000 other things on Shabbat. No, we're focused on our Father, the commandments, statutes that he gave us, and how he is judging us righteously with every action that we take. That's what we're focused on. Do children have any concept of, yes, I've brought up the commandments because this is an important one, any other name than our Father? No. When you breathe, you are speaking the Father's name, Yahuwah. Exactly. So children, little children, before they are taught to speak, before they are taught any other names, are speaking our Father's name. And then when they are to learn words and how to speak, they are to be taught Yahuwah and Yahusha, our Messiah. And this is what Yahuwah has commanded us. He commanded Moses to tell the entire tribe, the children of Yasharel, the name of Yahuwah. And then further down the line, the name of Yahusha was brought unto Miriam, Yahusha's mother of the flesh, who gave birth to him. It was told by angel Gabriel. So no, a child of Yahuwah's knows only the name of Yahuwah and knows no other names of mighty ones. You do not bow to images. Do children bow to images or to symbols like the cross? No, they don't. They have no conception of it, and neither should we. You do not cast the name of Yahuwah to ruin. I don't see any little child casting the name of Yahuwah to ruin or speaking against his name and using the name of other mighty ones until they are programmed to. Remember the Shabbat, to keep it set apart. As far as I know, little children keep every single day set apart for our Father. And Shabbat they shall be raised to keep set apart. Real quick. All right, respect your father and mother. Children respect their father and mother unless they're raised in a horrible way where they are disrespecting their father and mother. Children do not murder, have no intent to. They do not break wedlock, have no intent to. They do not steal, have no intent to. They do not bear false witness against their neighbor, have no intent to. And they do not covet their neighbor's house, wife, etc. They have no intent to. I just thought that was like a cool one to start off with, because if you think about it, yes, we are to be innocent to transgression, meaning that we know not of it. We only know the way of our Father, and that's how things are meant to be upon our entire timeline of this generation. And then we shall be judged in righteousness, and our Father shall make us worthy of his kingdom, of innocent, free of transgression, clean beings. Furthermore, Yahusha tells us we need to focus on the reward that is to come and not lose our savor by piling up eternal transgressions. We've got another Matthew verse, chapter 5, verse 12 to 13. Yahusha says, "Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in the Shamayim," in heaven. "For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of man." So let's break this down. Great is your reward in heaven. Okay, so therefore we must focus on that reward. How are we given the reward of heaven? Well, we are judged by our actions. Our actions are righteous, therefore we are given everlasting life by our Father. All right, so every action we take, we need to think eternally. We need to think, how would this affect my chances of receiving everlasting life? There we go. Now, if the salt has lost his savor, how does salt lose its savor? By piling up transgressions. It is therefore good for nothing. If you are thinking present moment about your transgressions, you might even have an understanding that the actions you're taking are not good actions, but you're thinking too short term, which can even be thinking long term. No, wrong way of thinking. You will lose your savor by doing such transgressions, and you will be good for nothing. All right? We want to be salt of the earth. How are we salt of the earth? By thinking eternally, by taking every single action, knowing that our Father will be judging us. Therefore, we will take good actions. Just like transgressions pile up, so do our positive actions and actions of walking uprightly and being of an example of our Father's word, doctrine, statutes, commandments. And that is what brings us into everlasting life. What takes our chances away of everlasting life is losing our savor by piling up transgressions. Look at all of these witnesses that I have for you guys. All right, I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel of our Father's light. And what is our Father's light? It's his word that is right here. All right, this is not my opinion. These are not even my thoughts. This is the Father's word. These are statutes given to us by our Father. All right? So you're not learning from me right now. You're learning from our Father. I'm just broadcasting it to you. I'm just bringing it to you as a beacon. So how do we think eternally? All right? We now know what eternal thinking is. How do we think eternally? Well, we must drink from Yahuwah's well of water, which is reading his word, confessing his name, and following doctrine, following Yahuwah's doctrine. All right, so we can read here in Yohanan, which is John, chapter 4, verses 13 to 14. Yahusha answered and said unto her, "Whosoever drinks of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life." What is that well of water that is within us? It's Yahuwah's Ruach, it's his breath, which is brought out by reading his word, confessing his name, following his doctrine. All right? Whosoever drinks of this water shall thirst again. That's the water of sin, of transgression. Whosoever transgresses shall thirst again, eternally, because you will not have everlasting life. You will be cast unto nothingness. Therefore you shall thirst again. But whosoever drinks of the water that our Father gives us, which is his word, which is his name, which is his doctrine, shall never thirst. For we shall be brought everlasting life. There is no thirsting in the new eternal earth that our Father has promised us. Right? There is no thirsting. Boom. Another one, another witness. All right? Again, how do we think eternally? Let's read. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of his word. All right. So how do we think eternally? We give ourselves continually to petition to Yahuwah, to speak to our Father and bring things forth unto him. Our trials, our tribulations, our rejoice, our love for our Father. We bring this all to him in prayer. Our overall gratefulness, we are just to worship our Father, right? And we are to minister his word, meaning we confess his name and set ourselves as beacons of his light by following his doctrine, by speaking of the wonders that our Father brings us, the gifts our Father brings us. So that's how we think eternally. Thinking is an action, mashpaca. We need to think eternally. All right, we know our Father is going to judge us, and by his righteous judgment, we either enter down the path of everlasting life or the path of nothingness. So with this understanding in mind, we either take actions that are going to be deemed righteous by our Father, and we as chosen ones with eyes to see and ears to hear, understand what these righteous actions are, all right? Because our Father tells us simply and plainly, reading his word, confessing his name and following his doctrine, all right? Or we are going to transgress and think in the present moment instead, and therefore be blotted out of our Father's book of everlasting life. So this, by the way, is Masim, Acts 6, verse 4, right? Now, my favorite part, all right, to wrap things all up wonderfully. Overcoming and the Sefer of Life, the book of life that our Father has written. So, just to sum up, we think eternally now. We understand that our actions must be of the upright path. So therefore, we are made worthy servants of his. How are we made worthy servants? By overcoming and having our names in the Sefer of Life and our sins blotted out. He that overcomes, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the Sefer of Life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his heavenly messengers. Right? That's Hazon, Revelation chapter 3, verse 5. So exactly what we just spoke about. All right? We overcome by reading his word, confessing his name and following his doctrine, taking actions that are upright and that are seen by our Father as righteous. And therefore, our name is not blotted out. Therefore, it's kept in the Sefer of Life, the book of everlasting life that has our names in it, right? We choose to think present moment and transgress and not worry about the consequences of our action when it comes to our Father judging us, then we are blotted out of the Sefer of Life. Another one from Chazon, chapter 20, verse 15. And whosoever was not found written in the Sefer of Life was cast into the lake of fire. Not found in the Sefer of Life by present moment transgressing and not thinking of the outcome of our actions eternally when it comes to our Father judging us in the last days. Not repenting of our past transgressions and moving forward by being clean, by walking uprightly, you, my friend, are cast into a lake of fire. Why we must think about the outcome of our actions eternally and not in present moment. Fearing our Father's name is fearing his judgment, which again is eternally thinking. When you are thinking about our Father's judgment in the actions that you take, you are fearing his name. You are fearing his name because you fear his judgment. And this is what our Father wants. He wants us to fear his name. All right, let's read. We've got Hazon 11:18. And the nations were angry, and your wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. So judgment shall come, whether you like it or not. And that you should give reward unto your servants, those who fear his name, therefore fear his judgment, the prophets, and to the Kodashim, that's us, the children of Yasharel, the set apart nation, and them that fear your name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. Who are those that destroy the earth? Those that transgress in it. Those that transgress in it. And who are those who should be given reward? His servants, those who walk uprightly in it and minister his word and make prayer to him and are example of his commandments, his doctrines, those who keep Shabbat, those who eat clean and pure food and do not eat any unclean animal, nor encourage it, those who fear his name, those who think eternally. Family. Let's end with the commandments, all right? Now, what are the actions that we are to take and what are the actions that we are to avoid? I am Yahuwah, your Eluah, your mighty one. Have no others before my face. Actions we are to take. Have no others before his face and call upon his name Yahuwah. Actions we are to avoid. Having others before his face. This is idolatry. This is worshipping and putting on a pedestal, putting to high degree anyone that is not our Father. Could be actors, could be social media people that some people are just obsessed with. It could even be your mother and father, meaning that you transgress our Father's commandments like Shabbat based off wanting to keep your mother and your father happy, all right? It's a hard one, but it's a big one. All right, we do not bow to images, the actions we are to take. Not bow to images. Not worship symbols like crosses and pagan symbols and images, all right, of false mighty ones. You do not cast the name of Yahuwah, your Eluah, to ruin, to naught. Speak of the name Yahuwah and our master Yahusha HaMashiach, and only of those two names, and not of any mighty ones, and not fall fault to speaking the names God and JC when around other people, fearing that you might be judged. No, you are not to put his name to naught. All right? So the actions we do not take is destroying his name by saying God, by saying JC, by being quiet around the name of Yahuwah when you're in spiritual conversation. No. 4, remember Shabbat, to keep it set apart, Kadesh. Actions we take, keep Shabbat. Actions we avoid, not keeping Shabbat and transgressing, even if it is a family member's birthday and they want to go out to lunch. If you are asked to work on that specific day and there's a big opportunity, you have to say no, you have to put it down. Otherwise you're thinking present moment. You're not thinking eternally about the judgment of our Father. Respect your father and your mother. Actions you take, respect and honor your father and your mother, and if they are not already in the truth, set yourself as an example for them to seek the truth and to give heed unto the name of our Father Yahuwah. You do not murder, self-explanatory. You do not break wedlock, taking the action of, if you are in a relationship with a woman, you are to be in a joint covenant under the tree of our Father Yahuwah, all right? She is to speak the name of our Father, or he, for any sisters watching this, is to speak the name of our Father and be accountable to the name of our Father, meaning they are keeping these commandments as well, all right? And once that covenant, that relationship is forged, you are not to break it. You are not to break it, all right? I think the only permissible way you break wedlock is if your partner cheats on you, and then yes, you break wedlock, because you are not to live with a cheater. They cheat on you, they cheat on the name of the Father. Gone. See ya later. You do not steal, self-explanatory, don't even need to go further into it. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor, all right? You are not to lie to your friends, your family, to those around you. Speak behind others' backs, be envious and jealous of others, and try and bring them to destruction. No. And 10, last but not least, you do not covet your neighbor's house, wife, servants, etc. So anything that belongs to others, whether it's an actual possession or it is, a woman or a man, you are not to seek after it. You are not to even bear eye to it. All right. So this just stems back to not being jealous of your neighbor's goods. Even with money, if you see someone out there doing great and you start to get a bit jealous, then you talk down on their name, then you want to start to take what's theirs, maybe their business or things like that. No, you do not covet your neighbor's belongings. So that is a wrap, guys. We want to be thinking in the eternal moment, all right? Which is not of this timeline, but when the time comes that our Father righteously judges us, and base our actions off that. And I promise you, mashpaca, if you do base every single action off what would our Father think, all right? And how does it affect my chances of receiving everlasting life? You will be of an upright seed. You will be a sweet fruit, a ripe fruit unto our Father's vine in which we hang off. And you shall be made a worthy servant, Yahuwah willing, of course, Yahuwah willing. All right, just want to end with a nice palau, a petition, a prayer to all of our mashpaca that is of flesh and that may be yet to come into the truth, that they do seek the name of Yahuwah and the doctrine, the word, the statutes that are of our loving, caring Father. Send this to someone that could really benefit from understanding the meaning of eternal thinking, and so therefore could be chosen and made worthy of Yahuwah's righteous judgment of everlasting life as well. We all want everlasting life, but some just fail to see the importance of it yet. And so I pray that the importance of Yahuwah and his name and his doctrine, and therefore his judgment unto everlasting life, is made known to the multitude, to all of those with eyes to see and ears to hear. And so share this around, family, share this around, and be that beacon of light that Yahuwah wants us to be. All right, Barak Yahuah. Until the next one, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, check out my Instagram at Eat Spiritual Bread, posting every single day on there, different topics, verses, things going on around the world. If you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy the Instagram page, and I appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to go through Yahuwah's word here with me as fellow brothers and sisters in the truth, the straight narrow path that is our Father above, the wonderful Yahuwah, and our Messiah, our Master Yahusha. Shalom, shalom.